So Ramsay, the ever so mean and nearly impossible to please chef and TV host. One might even swear that they've never heard him make a complete statement without cursing or spitting out his food because apparently no one seems to get it right. Well, there might just be some exceptions and rare moments when Ramsay actually said yes to the food, but it's so rare that if you blink, you could miss it. Number 1 is my favorite. Number 10. Ramsay couldn't pick a bad dish. He loved them both. The F Word is another one of Ramsay's cook shows, but there's just one difference here. Unlike his other shows, this one has no room for edits. Nope, it's live and uncut. So if Ramsay's got beef with your dish, you better believe you're hearing it straight from the horse's mouth. In this nail-biting episode from the first season, we've got 2 teams squaring off, Licensed to Grill versus Chop It Like It's Hot. Both were tasked with whipping up a skirt steak with chimichurri sauce, chorizo, and white bean fricassee. Sounds mouth-watering, right? First up, we've got Debbie from Licensed to Grill, nervously presenting her creation. Ramsay's eyebrows were raised in suspicion, but surprise, surprise, he ended up loving the rustic vibes and that perfect balance of heat and freshness. Next in line was Patty from Chop It Like It's Hot, who threw in a quesadilla twist with cheese and roasted red peppers. A bold move for sure. It's time for the final verdict, and wait for it, drum rolls please. Ramsay loved it. Creamy, rich goodness all around. Can you believe it? 2 dishes in, and Ramsay's speechless. Well, almost.
I can't fault anything here.
Somebody pinch me, I must be dreaming. Did Ramsay just credit both meals at once? Whoa. Well, miracles sure do happen. Number 9. The sticky toffee pudding was just so good. You know how Gordon Ramsay's usually all fire and brimstone on Kitchen Nightmares? Rarely does he break out into a love fest over the food. But hey, there are those rare moments when he finds a diamond in the rough amidst a sea of food disasters. Take Morgan's in Liverpool, England, for instance. They served Gordon some prawns that were so tough, he could have used them as ammo in a slingshot, literally. And there was this massive plate of what he described as overpriced stodge. It was practically a nightmare. But then, out of the blue, dessert arrived. Sticky toffee pudding. Now, this one didn't look any better than the rest, but guess what? Gordon liked it.
I'm glad to be here. This is nice, light. Not too sticky. The person who made that dish doesn't put fucking apricot and mashed potatoes together.
Number 8, Omi Hopper's finger-lickin' buñuelos. So, back in 2020, Omi Hopper was just doing her thing, sharing her family's mouth-watering Puerto Rican dishes all over TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. Next thing you know, she's blowing up on the internet and she's decided to sign up for season 2 of Next Level Chef. And guess what? She didn't just survive, she thrived. Gordon Ramsay loved most of her dishes, especially her caldo e pescado seafood dish. But the real jackpot came during the baking challenge. Hopper whipped up these buñuelos, a fried then baked pastry with a coconut cream filling and wild berry sauce.
Headed to the top level is Omi. Omi,
Yes, chef.
can I have the recipe, please?
Yes, chef.
Although she didn't take home the crown that season, but having Ramsay beg for her recipe, that's a win in anyone's cookbook. Number 7, Christine Ha's apple pies. In one of the MasterChef episodes, the pressure test had the contestants sweating buckets. The task was baking apple pies, and Christine Ha, the show's blind chef extraordinaire, had to tackle this challenge. So there she was, usually as cool as a cucumber, but on this day, she was all flustered.
With barely 18 minutes to go, you still were not in the oven with your apple pie.
Stress level through the roof.
Honestly, chef, there's just no excuse. I was flustered and I'm not experienced with making pie at all, so there's...
Finally, she presented her pie to the one and only Gordon Ramsay, but Christine's already convinced it's a disaster, calling it a pile of rubbish. Then came the moment of truth.
It was amazing. So well done. Okay. Congratulations. Really good job.
Talk about a turnaround. And for Ramsay, the tough guy, dishing out compliments like that, now that's a rare sight. Number 6, Mother Mary's red velvet cake. In this episode of Kitchen Nightmares, Gordon Ramsay went to Plainfield, New Jersey, where he stumbled upon Blackberry's, a soul food joint owned by Shelley Withers. Now, Shelley used to rock it as a caterer, so she was pretty confident about running a restaurant, especially with her mom, Mary, who had put her retirement fund on the line for this place.
I'm happy to have you here. Wow, look at this place.
But that was about the only nice thing he said for a hot minute. What went wrong? First of all, the decor was all over the place. The staff was dressed like they were at a costume party. And don't even get me started on the food. It was a disaster. I mean, Ramsay actually got sick after eating some of it. But just when you thought it was all going downhill, something magical happened. Ramsay was served Mama Mary's red velvet cake, and it was like heaven on a plate.
Yeah, it's delicious. Well done. Wow. Let's wait to the end. I've been saved by Mother Mary.
Classic Ramsay, right? Number 5. It's delicious. Tommy Walton was one dude who rocked the MasterChef kitchen like a boss. In fact, he was one of the most popular contestants the show had seen. Why? You see, Tommy wasn't just a chef. He was also a fashion designer with a flair for the dramatic and a taste for the extravagant. There's this one episode where he was whipping up some bananas Foster with apples, maple bourbon cream, and a sweetened cream cheese filling. And let me tell you, it was a sight to behold. Every angle, every side was all perfectly colored and arranged.
Tommy.
And like his usual self, he was grinning like he was about to drop the tastiest food of the century. Gordon Ramsay took a bite, and you could practically see the gears turning in his head.
Right amount of liqueur. I love what you've done with the savouriness of the cream cheese inside as well. Tommy, delicious.
And in that instant, it felt like the sound of angels singing Hosanna. Number 4. The famous beef Wellington. On this wild episode of MasterChef Junior, our pint-sized chefs faced the ultimate challenge, Gordon Ramsay's notorious beef Wellington. Yep, that fancy dish that even some adult chefs sweat over. Troy and Alexander, the dynamic duo of the kitchen, teamed up to tackle this beast. These kids weren't just good, they were literally food wizards, conjuring up dishes that would even make grown-ups jealous. So they marched up to the judges' table with their beef Wellington, looking all fancy on the outside. Ramsay's eyeballing it like a hawk, and the boys are crossing their fingers, hoping it's as good on the inside and on the outside. Ramsay finally sliced into it, and there was this tense moment where everyone was holding their breath. Lo and behold, it was a masterpiece, perfectly pink in the middle, just the way it should be. Then came the moment of truth. Ramsay took a big ol' bite. You could practically hear a pin drop in the kitchen. But guess what? He loved it. Ramsay's all smiles, telling these kiddos they've aced one of the toughest dishes on the planet. Heck, he even said he'd serve it up in his own fancy restaurant. Now that's a compliment for the books. Number 3. The perfect sausage roll. On this wild episode of MasterChef,
My name's Dustin.
Good. What are you cooking?
So I'm doing a traditional English-style sausage roll with an Italian twist on it.
Well, hold on a minute.
you could even see Ramsay giving Dustin the side-eye because he was piling on all these fancy toppings on a dish that's supposed to be basic street food. I'm talking spicy marinara sauce, Parmesan cheese, parsley, and even a dab of basil pesto.
I go first. I'm sorry.
Do it, please.
And Ramsay's face went from, what on earth did this guy just do, to holy moly, this is amazing.
How about some for the rest of us? Oh,
Delicious.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Amazing. Sorry. That was amazing.
Thumbs up, Dustin. Turning a simple sausage roll into a gourmet masterpiece made Ramsay almost lose his mean side for once. Who knew, right? Number 2. The best clam chowder? In an episode of Kitchen Nightmares, Ramsay visited Handlebar in Mount Sinai, New York. It used to be the bee's knees for the posh individuals in town, but now turned out to be a sad, forgotten relic that could barely fill 18 tables on a Saturday night. So Ramsay sat down, probably rolling his eyes already, and they served him their soup of the day, clam chowder. Now, when Gordon called over one of the owner's bill, you just knew it was about to hit the fan. But, surprisingly, Ramsay actually said it wasn't half bad. He went all,
I'd just like to say that's nicely seasoned, very tasty and perfect for a winter's day.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
and guess what? That clam chowder ended up being the only thing Ramsay didn't want to chuck in the bin that day. Talk about a plot twist. Number 1. Coconut rice pudding for the win. If you've ever watched MasterChef Junior, you know Gordon Ramsay tends to dial down the sass for the little chefs compared to the adults. But there was this one time he encountered a dessert so divine it knocked his socks off, prepared by a smart young girl, Jenna. Jenna laid down this stunning coconut rice pudding topped with a mango and mint compote. It looked so good, even I want to taste it. But before she could even spill the beans about her dish, Ramsay dived in for a taste. His poker face didn't last long though, and he broke into laughter at Jenna's eager anticipation. The pudding was so good, he couldn't resist going back for seconds.
That is absolutely delicious. It's rich, it's creamy.
When he asked her age, and she dropped the bomb saying that she was only 12, Ramsay's reaction was priceless as he blurted out, OMFG.
Wow, how old are you?
12.
OMFG.
leaving everyone wide-eyed. But of course, he quickly clarified the F definitely stood for food. Oh, Ramsey, he's always keeping us on our toes, and even the kiddos know this.